Hello, everybody. Welcome to another fabulous edition of the only Drag Race review. Ooh. Oh. I'm Peppermint, and we are here to give you all the sweetest, the sassiest, and the shadiest moments from RuPaul's Drag Race Season 12, Episode 8. But before we get started, please make sure you click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can get information on all things The Only Productions has to offer. Now I'm going to bring my shady girlfriend in. I offer the sweet, she offers the shady. I'm going to bring my shady sister in. Let's hear it for Tina Burner.
Ew,
Girl.
Ew. Hello.
Mama.
Hi, Mama.
Girl, this is this episode. Okay, last episode was definitely my favorite episode of the season and might have been one of my favorite episodes of the series. Episode 7 last week.
Right.
What I just want to hear your thought about that, real quick.
About last week's?
Last week's episode 7.
Yeah, last week's episode was amazing. It's one of the best episodes of the series. And then we have this week's, which brings us to this week, which we'll get into right now. So we can get into the shady part of that. Because I'm agreeing with you, last week's episode was amazing. Speaking, you know what I mean? Britta went home. It was, we talked about that on our last review. I think she was just, in their head, time to go. So I think we've eliminated those people really that were in their head too much, and we got into these top people. So now it's just like, just a climb to the top, we clawed through the people now.
So it was a really, really dramatic, kind of nail-biting. I won't say the lip sync was that dramatic, but the episode, how it ended last week was kind of dramatic and nail-biting because, like Tina said, we didn't know who was going to go home and who went home. Britta, we didn't even expect it. So here we go. We start at the beginning of the episode this week. All the queens coming in. Heidi, who was the other person involved, having just sent home Britta. And now they're all gathered around the mirror, looking at the lipstick like they always do. And, Heidi wipes Britta's message off the wall. And right away, Jan starts going on and crying and telling everybody how upset she was, how angry and how sad she was that she lost and that Britta got sent home, but that she lost, but that Britta got sent home. What'd you think, girl? Were you buying it?
Okay, I thought emotions are high. I think given in this situation, hardly anybody's probably slept. You know what I mean? Everyone is just so, I think the littlest thing can set you off. I'm just saying, though, I think somebody made a really good point during the episode to say, like, I think everything is just built up. And the fact that, she hasn't been able to reach the judges how she wanted to reach the judges, it all got to her. And I think losing it that much, it was an easy release to say she was upset that her friends was gone. And that way she could work through her feelings of not being at the top and getting her wins. So it was a nice cover. You know what I'm saying?
She started to cry and she mentioned Britta's name, which was smart. But then I got really upset because, you're a queen, I'm a queen, we're all queens. And I'm like, oh my gosh, her makeup's going to run. Her mascara's going to run. What's going to happen? And she was crying for like 5 minutes and not a single tear went anywhere. I was looking. I had to actually zoom in.
She pays for the good shit, girl. She pays for the good shit. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe that's
that ain't no Wet n Wild. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no Wet n Wild. She got that Bobbi Brown gel liner, She got that Sephora shit, honey.
So the girls are all sitting around talking, and it's about Jan being upset that Britta went home, aka that she didn't win that challenge. And so now we fast forward, the girls come into the room. RuPaul bursts in looking gorgeous in her Epstein Klein suit. That suit was everything. That suit was everything. And
top two to the week, the suit.
It was a very good week. The MiniChallenge is a Fab Fit Fun Shady Tea Challenge. And the queens basically have to sit around, gift each other these Fab Fit Fun boxes, and then read each other as they go through the contents of the boxes. And let's see, Gigi and Jackie were paired up. They won. They ended up winning.
I think these girls were they were too afraid to go too hard because they didn't want to make Jan cry.
We'll find out later that that's actually a thing. But it's not that easy to make the bitch cry. You could send home her best friend and make her lose the challenge and nothing's gonna fall down her face. But one of the things that I love about mini challenges is being able to see the 5 minute makeups. Like, because the makeups are
Oh,
look crazy.
it
Except
was
for
like it was
Jackie.
like when Nikki Doll got into her makeup for like what was that, the bee thing, and all of a
Yeah,
sudden she just had on like lip liner and like it all has to do with how your face looks too. Because like if you look
yeah,
beautiful out of it in it, you can just put lipstick and a lash and go. Boosh.
yeah.
But like
I mean,
Jackie, she was like
Jackie is.
Jackie
Go ahead.
reminded me of like Mrs. Doubtfire. You know when she goes in the fridge and she puts in the cake and she comes up and she's in full beat. That was Jackie. She just put on glasses after that.
Yeah, it was extremely simple, just glasses. But one of the speaking of Mrs. Doubtfire, did you notice how each and every one of the queens, only in this mini challenge, they all had a British accent?
Yeah. I don't know if they thought because they were sitting down to tea, like it was like
Uh,
high tea,
yeah,
like
girl.
to be proper. Bitch, look at your face. There ain't nothing proper about it. Okay, work a little more on your face and work a little less on your accent, because both were done. They were done, honey.
So Jackie and Gigi win the mini challenge, and they win $1,000 and some prize, and some one of them Fat Fit
Wait,
Fun
did you
box.
say it was from Fab Fit and Fun?
Fat Fit Fun, and guess what? I've seen those commercials on TV. I had no idea what a Fab Fit Fun box actually was, and after this, I still have no idea what a Fat Fit Fun box is.
All I know is they should have just called it. It wasn't a reading challenge if you could pronounce Fab Fit and Fun. Because they're like, we
Yeah,
got a Fab Fit and Fun box. Did you hear
Fat,
there's a Fab Fit and Fun box?
Fat Fit Fun.
The only two F's I've ever heard, Fab Fit, I don't know, fist fucking. I don't know. I got confused. There's too many F's going on. Yeah, that's what I got.
So now it's time for the main challenge. We find out that the main challenge today is an acting challenge where the girls have to market themselves and create a product that is basically it's the Droop challenge. And I don't know where Droop actually comes into this, but the girls have to create a product that they brand and then shoot a commercial, write and shoot a commercial. And they actually did a pretty good job. I think that this is one of the challenges where aside from even more so than Snatch Game, I think this is one of those challenges that really shows who the girls are and gives them an opportunity to like really, you know, rise to the occasion and really
Well,
like top.
you're building something from the ground up. You're literally giving
Yeah,
like, okay, this is all you. This is all you. We're giving you anything you want. You want to bring in a merkin, you can bring in a merkin. You know what I mean? You get to do whatever the fuck you want. Ain't nobody gonna tell you you're crazy because you know why? They're gonna tell you that was great. That was great. That was great. Now let's wait until they show it on the fucking runway and they go, that was fucking awful. Do you know they gonna build you up to tear you down, girl? Because it's a television show. Because if I would have seen some of the shit like watching Widows, I would have been like, great, that was amazing. That was amazing. Let's watch it. Let's watch it later.
well, you know what the funny thing is? Even before getting into the challenge, right at the top of the when they introduced the challenge, did you catch the little Easter egg moment that they keep bringing in Dahlia Sin? Like, I think they're trying to do it every episode.
But why? Why? I don't even like broccoli in real life, girl, and I didn't like it on the show. I'm just saying. Why are we awarding people with bad attitudes, girl? I don't like when people are spiced up and have the attitudes, and then they're like, "We gonna bring broccoli." I get it. She's pretty. Okay, she's fucking pretty. I get it. You're gorgeous. You're beautiful. You're Linda Evangelista.
That is the best looking piece of broccoli I have ever seen.
If broccoli looked like that, I would eat it. But broccoli does not look like that.
It will from now on. I can guarantee you that Dahlia Sin is going to have some broccoli merch, and she better be wearing that broccoli costume when we finally get to the live shows. She better be when she goes on tour.
But that's the only thing you want to see from her because you're like, it was the only thing that you go, okay, girl, that's what. Like, that's not me being shady. It's just the memorable moment. Like everyone, it's kind of like when Miss Cracker was Dr. Dill. Because I talked to Miss Cracker about it after, and she goes, and I was like, when you came back, like, did you ever think like, that pickle's gonna be great? And she goes, I actually came back, and she goes, I don't want to see that fucking pickle thing because it's gonna be mortifying, and it ends up being like everybody's like, oh, Dr. Dill, you know what I mean? So like, it's, but like the bad thing about Dahlia is like she was only there for an episode, so like you broccoli for life, sis.
So, what are some of your favorite products? Saving the best for last. What are some of the products that you remember from this challenge?
I actually liked Gigi Good's the perfume.
It was called Good Night.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, her name's got so many good puns. You know what I'm saying? See what I did there? Is it good? I like that one. I really, I'll save my favorite for the end. But besides that, I did think that Mullet was smart.
So obviously, two of the top girls in some of the top girls in the episode tonight were Gigi, who had Good Night, and of course our fabulous Miss Heidi. And Heidi had one of the best commercials because she had the the Heidi-ration girl, and that was also from RuPaul on the walkthrough when RuPaul was walking through with Bob, what's his name? Bob Mitchell?
Ross.
Bob, not Bob Ross. Bob. Yes. When RuPaul was walking
You said Bob Barker. Did you spay and neuter your pets?
When RuPaul was walking through with Bob Barker, Bob Ross, Bob Harper, RuPaul gave Heidi that. Ru asked Heidi, what is the name of your thing going to be? Is that going to be your name? And she was like, and Ru gave her the name Heidi-ration. And they had to explain to her that it was a good idea for her to use her name in our product. And so Heidi, I believe Heidi is no good making up names. Heidi's just good with names.
No, I just think Heidi's like, it's almost like that, like Tammy Brown, where she's like, teleport me to Mars. I think she's in her own world of like Heidi, and I'm there for it. I am there for, I want to live on that planet. I think Heidi cracks me the fuck up. I don't care if she makes a chicken noise or a turkey noise or whatever the fuck she's making. She makes me laugh. And like, she's one of the most memorable personalities they've had on that show.
She absolutely is with her. And I would actually buy her multi-purpose lotion, especially if it has the drag queen tears in it. I just think it's excellent. So
and she fucking dropped to the ground. It was like drag queen tears. I was losing my shit. She was so good.
Those are two girls that were on the top. And then, of course, the two bottom girls were Widow and Jan. And so what did you not like about Widow's?
Widow's video was just awful. I mean, she was in her head. It was not funny. It was like being read from a teleprompter. And it was like, wink, wink. And it was just like, she seems to have that sassiness. But the thing is like, when you watch her like interviews during the show and she's like laughing to that girl and like getting into it and she's got that personality, and it was literally like, they just told you your cat died. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I know you're going on right now, but your cat's dead in the bathroom. And she's like, hi, my name's Widow, wink, wink. Like, there was like, it's somebody, she was really, really in her head. So.
It's really low energy. And the thing that I think was really funny was the very opposite of where Jan was. Jan, who was also in the bottom, was extremely high energy. And she was basically she even said she's throwing everything but the kitchen sink in. She just had so many layers, so much going on. She was singing, she was dancing, she was, dressed kind of ugly, and then she was dressed as pretty gorgeous Jan. It was just too much going on in a little 10-second video.
Well, yeah, it was just, it's kind of like when you watch, it's like you had watched every episode of Drag Race and you were like, I'm going to throw this all in the wash. You know what I mean? Like everything was on the spin cycle together. It's just like you kind of have to, you can't do everything. You want to do everything, but like it doesn't make for like good television. People need to see one thing about you and get to like it. And then like you step your pussy up, or you step your pussy up again, but just trying to do all of it. It's like, it's kind of like having a split personality disorder,
Yeah, I mean, I think of it this way, and I feel like I kind of struggled from something similar, or at least in my mind when I was on Drag Race. But like we all know Thor is an excellent violin player. We know that now, but we didn't know that on her original season necessarily. She didn't play violin on her season, but it's like Jan is like literally playing the fiddle while she's trying to speak and sing and dance and do everything else. It's just too much, and so that lands them both in the bottom, and they have to lip sync to a Shaka Khan song in front of Shaka Khan.
Yeah, no. See, that's shit like that. I don't want to do that shit. You know what I mean? I don't want the artist sitting in front of me when I do their song, because I feel like I just don't want it. Unless it's like somebody that's Shaka Khan. You know what I mean? That's like for the younger kids. No, Whitney Houston did not sing "I'm Every Woman." Okay, it's not Shaka Khan. You know what I'm saying? Like she's a legend. It's yeah. I mean, but like I know. You had talked about we had talked about this prior, but tell me, like, I want your honest opinion. Did you think Shaka Khan was there? Was she alert during
No,
that?
Shaka Khan. By the way, Shaka Khan was obviously the guest judge, and Shaka Khan looked pretty, and I was. It was amazing that she was named as the guest judge. It would have been even better if Shaka Khan was actually in attendance. This woman seemed high as hell. She didn't seem like she knew where she was. I mean, when they said, I knew when she was like, "What's a merkin?" It
Yeah.
wasn't because Jan's video was bad. I mean, it wasn't because Jackie's video was not effective. It's because Shaka wasn't paying attention. And they like made the music silent, and then all the judges kind of looked around. It was so awkward.
I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I like it when the judges like getting comfortable. They're just not paying attention.
But you didn't really love the fact that Jan had to lip sync to a Shaka Khan song. You mentioned that
Yeah.
earlier.
Oh, I didn't because like here's the thing. Like I don't know because well, I mean I know like just being if I said to myself like you know what I mean like if I'm going up to perfect example you know what I mean I know you for many years because I'm very young and like you know like you kill salt and pepper you know what I mean you kill like it's a thing I've seen you done and it's just like you can kill that like that's your thing okay so like Chaka Khan is Widow Von Du's thing all right so it's definitely not Jan. It's like the polar opposite of what Jan does. You're not going to go to a Jan show and see Jan doing it's great. And she fucking performed the shit out of it. And do I think both of them should have stayed? Sure. But if you're basing it just solely on the lip sync of that song, the feeling of that song, the energy of that song, and how that song, if you went to a drag show, you'd want to watch it be performed. You're going to watch Widow Von Du tear the shit out of that song. And she did.
I mean, you do have a point about that, but one of the things that I don't think is, I mean, yes. Wait, first of all, does Widow actually do Shaka Khan in her act?
I mean, she acted like that's her idol, so I would hope so, and she wasn't lying. But then again, cameras were on, so everyone probably was lying. I'm a girl. You know how it gets. Somebody puts a camera in front of your face, all of a sudden you're like, "Hi, I'm Tina Burner, and I'm Miss America." You know what I mean? Like some of these people, or like that's not me. You know, like I'm Tina Burner, and I'm fucking Tina Burner. Like I don't care if you got the camera on me or not. I ain't trying to be nobody. I ain't. But like some girls, they'll be like, "Oh, Chaka Khan, let me tell. Oh, she's my favorite. That'll be a good storyline. I love
Girl,
Chaka Khan. She's my idol."
that happens every single episode of Drag Race because half the times when the judges, when they say such and so is your guest judge, or such and so is going to choreograph the damn number, nobody knows who the hell that is. So you can see those yeah, and then they like do not know who it is. I didn't know who half the people were until I saw their faces, and maybe I recognized, especially back in season 9. We didn't have all the high echelon judges that they have in season 12. But I disagree with you on the lip sync point. I mean, we got our lip syncs, most of our, like 99% of our lip syncs, we already had way at the beginning of the season. I know that you've heard this too. And so I think they might have changed one lip sync, halfway through, but like for the most part, whatever the lip sync was going to be, like we knew what they were. And all the songs were there. The song list was the song list. And then they would tell you last minute, obviously they're going to have Shaka Khan song play during when Shaka Khan's allegedly there. And, so I think that song would have been, regardless of who was in the bottom. Now, the girls ended up in the bottom. It would have been nice of them to change it on behalf of Jan. They could have given a karaoke song and let Jan sing, but that's not how the show works. And I had to do Britney Spears. I had to do Macho Man.
No, but you can do here's the thing.
Girl, no, wait. I had to do Macho Man. I had to do Madonna music, which is not my thing. That's not my thing.
No, baby, what you taking in? No, you see, no. I'm gonna disagree with you on here. I'm gonna disagree with you because you are a lip sync assassin, and I've seen you, girl. I've known you to do pop music, to do that, to this. You're a well versed lip sync artist. You know what I'm saying? But like Jan and compared to, it's just not something she covers. And so I think it wasn't a strong suit. It's hard to. I'm sorry, baby, but when you see someone giving their life serving that old school fucking kind of drag lip syncing, and you're over here doing high kicks and death drops Like, it's not gonna work. You gotta be very careful about like how you present yourself in that era. The reason you brought comedy when you didn't when you knew that you were like, I'm just gonna fucking bring the comedy to it, and you fucking over exaggerated, and you gave me your and you brought to all of it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the difference. Jan was like serving herself and serving fucking fierceness like that. It just didn't work with that song.
Well, you know one of the things that she tried to do, and I spooked this really, really closely, is Jan busted into exactly the same two dance moves that I busted into when I was lip syncing against both Alexis and Cynthia. I had two different dances that I basically did. And Jan tried to do them, but it looked like she didn't quite have them. The dance moves look real familiar.
So what you're saying is Jan has watched every single episode of Drag Race, and she's taken what she thinks works in Drag Race. What she's taken everything, built her career on thinking what she's doing is what works, and then getting on the show and trying all those things as a formula to get all the way to the end is basically what you're saying.
So Heidi was the winner.
You a question.
Heidi was the winner of the episode. And who do you think should have won? Do you think Heidi should have won? And if not, who do you think should be the winner?
Heidi should have won, and no one else should have been the winner.
Okay.
The dress was stunning. The dress was fucking stunning. She looked gorgeous. You could not take that away from her, and her video was fucking hysterical. So that's what I'm saying. Both of the elements were there.
And so Jan got sent home. She lost to, spoiler alert, Jan lost to Widow, and Jan got sent home. Do you think Jan should have gone home? And if not, who do you think should have in her place?
I think they both should have been saved, but I also think it probably should have been. I love Crystal Method so much. I just have to say that, but like for some reason, Jan's look was so stunning and so polished. I'm not saying that Crystal Method, like the concept of the look was there. I didn't think it was as polished as Jan's, and I think they did equal in their video. So I would have put Crystal in the bottom just based on it. I don't think the look was as polished as it could have been. I think you could have done the like Corpse Bride, but I still think it could have been. Excuse me. I still think it could have been couture as shit. You know what I mean? Like,
I think one of the things that's really interesting is that based on the critiques alone, that Jan's critiques were basically like, Jan, you gave us like level 10 and you never went anywhere, which is what that's kind of what's been happening with Jan all season. As opposed to Crystal, all of the judges were really impressed with the job that Crystal did this time around and saying that she's really rising.
She's growing up. I agree.
Difference.
Well, that's the thing with Jan is, if right from the bat, she pulled out the big guns. Once you pull out the big guns, there ain't nowhere to go from there.
Yeah. And so I agree with you. I think that I was extremely upset to see Jan go. I know her from New York City, and I'm not really happy to see any of the New York queens going home this early in the competition, to believe it or not. But it is what it is.
Because we know better. We know better.
Yeah. I do agree, though. It seems like there's several girls on this season who sort of are advertising that they came with X, Y, and Z. And that's what they think they're announcing to us that I know how to win the season. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z all season and just that. And then that's what they do all season, and they don't grow or change or go anywhere. And then they eventually end up going home. And I think that's unfortunate, you know?
Yeah, I just think if a lot of people tried to be, and this is a general blanket statement for the season, for everyone that's on it, I think the minute they all just try to be themselves, and it would shine through so much further than trying to give the judges what they want. You know what I mean? Like, and that goes with like, what everyone, and you're just like, you can still get to the top being you. You don't have to sacrifice being you. You just have to play it right, you know? And I think you can't never give people what you think they want, because it's going to bite you in the ass eventually. Maybe not at first.
That's good advice. That's good advice. And now comes the time of the show that we like to call What You Should Have Done. And so I say for Jan, what you should have done is the same exact thing that it was like, I'm just going to copy and paste my what you should have done from last week, which was for Jan. Jan, you gave us too much all at once. And it was really difficult to see who you actually were, to see the vulnerability. We could see your talents, but we couldn't see the part of Jan that we really want to identify with and like. We saw someone with a set of skills that most people don't even have. And that's not that relatable. And so I think, Jan, what you should have done is peeled back and actually just tried to offer just who you are without necessarily showing us what you can do. What about you, Tina?
I think what Jen should have done is no tears, fessed up to the fact that she was happy Britta went fucking home. And she goes, I'm in this. I'm fucking pissed off that I didn't win the challenge. And I'm a bitch. And I'm going to win this shit. Own it. Own who you are. And take that shit to the top.
What's the funniest moment from this episode for you? Or anything memeable for you?
I mean, anything Heidi does. Whistle when she went, I can't even whistle through it. When she went satin and silk or whatever, or silk and satin.
Silk and satin, shuffle and shriek.
I told her she sounds like Herbert the pervert from Family Guy.
You have to know that.
What?
I said she has to know that.
It's so good. So good.
One of the things, I mean, I think the memeable moment, it's already started because we've seen it on the internet. The most memeable moment is Jan crying. So we went from Jan's angry face last week when she didn't win to Jan crying, and they're both in the same outfit.
They're so good. So good.
Well, that is all the time that we have for today's episode. Make sure that you tune back in for next week's episode. And Tina, what else should they do?
Girls, if you had a good time, everybody, make sure to swipe up, tap the bells, like and subscribe. Check us out again for the only Drag Race review brought to you by The Only Productions. I am Tina Barnard.
And I am Peppermint, and we will see you later.